clean and tight. So I like this system considerably better than the one that they're putting in the Mini. But more importantly, you guys that are following along with us, how we do this conversion, could, for money, order this system. Now you can put another system in here. In fact, the NetGain Warp 9 and the Kelly controller that we put in the Speedster would work just fine, fit just fine, work just fine in this vehicle, and would be certainly a lower cost alternative. The car would, at 3,200 pounds, would be a little more docile than what we're going to get with this system. You wouldn't have regenerative braking, but it would make a fine electric car, and you'd be able to drive highway speeds. It's not that it won't do 70 or 80 miles an hour. It's it'll just, with that weight, take a little longer to get there, but it won't be a dangerously slow acceleration. I think it'd be quite drivable car and would be quite successful conversion. We're starting with a brand new $32,000 Clubman. We've gone to some expense to put the best brakes we could get on it, and we're going to try to show you how to do the Cadillac conversion. This is a no compromises. Everything's going to work. The air conditioner, the heater, the power, heated seats, the stereo system, the whole thing. And we're going to select the best components we can that you could also likewise get without having to buy 5 of them from AC Propulsion, who are almost paralyzed in their fear of being left behind in the EV revolution, which almost leads inevitably to their being left behind. It's funny how the universe works. I love it. So I think this motor and controller are the thing. We're going to have to mate them up. Again, we're talking about an adapter plate here. This has to be spaced with the flywheel rather precisely from our clutch. It has to be centered rather precisely, and that's gonna take some professional machine shop work. We're going to use VAC Motorsports, but I think there are many competent machine shops in the country that can do this sort of work. It's not really electrical work. No. It's not electric design work. No. It's just
mechanical work.
It's a custom machining job. The better equipped shop you can get with, the better. But whatever it takes, I need to have. I don't want to hear vibrations, rattlings, things being off-centered, parts wearing prematurely because they're not properly aligned. This is sort of the center of the car, but I want my cooling tubes and my cable, I suppose, to face the front of the vehicle, don't you think? And so this would actually be 180 out. This would be toward the rear of the car, which will make it easier for us to engineer something between here and that bracket to mount that on this side of the motor to hold our right drive shaft on. And then we'll have our cable coming out the front. Here's our cable assembly. It's already pretty much made up for us with a lot of the connections we need for the motor and to our controller. And we'll have our water fittings, which are here and here, facing the front. And so that'll have to be taken into account too. Let me see if we can turn this over. This thing is, what was it, 135 pounds?
Yes.
So I'm going to want this this way in the car. And so we're going to take a marker and mark this top and make a similar mark on the transmission where our guys know they're not going to care how it's oriented, what would you call that? around the axle.
No.
And but we do, putting it in the car. So this is going to go toward the mount side of the car, and this will go to the front. I guess we'll mount our pumps and radiator up front, and this of course goes to the controller, which will probably mount above the motor. We should have a lot more room, for one thing, in this engine compartment with this thing compared to that internal combustion Otto cycle engine monstrosity that we have removed, although that's a beautifully engineered
Very nice.
motor engine that we've taken out. I think this one will be better. It'll be smaller, and it should work quite a bit better. It should have about the same power, but we've got to get it mated up to the transmission, and I think we'll send it off to do that. What else should we talk about on our drivetrain components before we put them in a box and ship them to Philadelphia? And we'll continue work on the car while that's gone. What did they give you any idea of what kind of time frame they were going to need to make this?
No, not really. Just in the next couple of weeks, we're going to make sure the parts are out there. They're still doing it in the racing season right now, but I think there's going to have to be a few conversations and them to understand exactly what we're doing and some sign-offs on the critical measurements.
Okay. Well, we'll go out there. Well, let's ship it out there, and we'll go out there and meet with them if we have to. But ideally, they can get a pretty good idea of what we want to do with this motor and transmission. But I'm excited. I think this is going to be a great looking package. They're already the same color.
There we go.
And so we should get back a motor and drivetrain system that is pretty much drop in the car. We'll have to do a little engineering on the mounting of it. We're going to have to hook up something to the engine mount end, and as I said, on this side for that brace for the drive shaft, but it's all looking pretty doable to me, and we'll get that installed and braced properly, and then we'll be able to start testing. Meanwhile, while it's gone, we'll put in the battery system, air conditioning pump, compressor, the hot water pump, DC to DC converter, and our battery boxes, and so forth while this is sent off. So I'm pretty excited. And it's going to get to be more of a fun project now that Brian and Kurt have got all the nasty stuff out of the front end of this. And we can get on to doing electrical work instead of dealing with various body fluids.
Yeah, instead of all the fluids, exactly.
So
even on a brand new car, there was some mess.
What was the most fun you had taking off all that front stuff?
Oh, I would say probably spraying a hydraulic fluid from our
your hydraulic fountain?
From our hydraulic fountain out of our cherry picker to lift the engine out was probably the worst.
Did we get that on film? Apparently they were pulling the engine out and blew a plug on the just the hand pump cherry picker and created a hydraulic fountain here in the garage.
Yep, we did.
That's got to be a lot of fun. I love the feel of that slick hydraulic fluid in my hair.
Yeah, it took a couple days to get it out.